Good afternoon and welcome to Deep Within the Man Cave. Today I'm going to talk about things that trigger you and what are triggers and how they can actually be good for you depending on your mindset and how you look at them. So a trigger is something that happens. So it could be something that somebody says, something that somebody does, could be anything, but it sets you off. You either instant angry, or you get defensive, or you shut down and avoid. Like anything, you can start yelling. So for example, when my wife used to talk to me about certain things, like, hey, we need to talk, I would almost instantly be triggered, not even knowing what she wanted to talk about, because I always assumed that it was going to be bad. Like her saying, hey, we need to talk, that triggered me, so I instantly turned into defensive Jeremy, which is not a nice person to talk to. And for the most part, it was over nothing. Dogs barking used to trigger me, used to drive me insane. I know why now, because excuse me, I looked into it. But it can be something as easy as that, triggering you into like starting to yell, scream, you get mad, stuff like that. And for the people that are around you, that can be incredibly scary and make them not want to associate with you, essentially. So, for example, those are examples of some of the things that trigger me. Another thing that can trigger me sometimes is, like, sometimes the weather and stuff like that. If it's constantly dreary or raining, I mean, that can trigger anybody. It's like, oh, it's so gloomy and whatever. But I mean, you can have a lot of fun in the rain and stuff like that. So look around in your life and find things that trigger you. Now, it could be as simple of, the way your wife, girlfriend, husband eats cereal. I know my wife does not like the way I eat cereal. And she would always go to another room or give me a look. Same thing with eating an apple. It's that sound, the crunching sound or the slurping sound, that throws her off. And I mean, it throws a lot of people off. And it can be as easy as not putting away your dishes, a messy house. I have found really recently that I get triggered, overwhelmed, and very frustrated in the amount of work it does to keep the house clean and organized. And if you let it slip for a day or two, and it's just so much more, and I feel myself getting in a very bad state of mind. So that triggers me. And I have found, through thinking about it, looking back, doing some exercises and stuff on how to figure out why that triggers me, is it reminds me of the mess and the so much stuff. Just, I can't relax, because that's sort of what it was like for me growing up younger. There was just so much stuff all the time, and there was no simple and clean, and it led to my anxiety, and it just overwhelmed me. So I am now being purposeful and intentionally just decluttering everything in my life, from stuff that I've kept. Next week is garage weekend, and that's gonna look like an empty garage because 98% of the stuff I'm probably gonna throw it out if I haven't used it or have any use for it. And yeah, you just got to sort of start from scratch. Like any of those kind of things can trigger you, but you got to think about is, so when you're calm and you're in a uplifted space, you got good self-esteem, look at why does, say, somebody saying, hey, we need to talk, why does that instantly create a panic? Why does that instantly make you shut down, make you avoid stuff like that? Because like 99% guarantee that it actually has nothing to do with the person that said it, that it's something previous from your past that is triggering these, and these people have just stumbled upon something that triggers you without even knowing themselves that they're triggering you. Usually when someone says, hey, we gotta talk, to me, I remember two specific things in my life that I have realized in the last couple of days that trigger me when I hear, hey, we need to talk, or can I talk to you? So the first one was when I was 7. I guess it's kind of three things now that I think about it. I did terrible in grade 3. My best friend's mother was my teacher. I figured that gave me a free ride. I didn't have to do anything. So turns out, and I knew I ended up failing grade 3. And I felt horrible about that. So that year was also the year we decided to pick up and move. So my parents said, hey, we're gonna move. We're moving to Edmonton. And as a 7-year-old, giving up all your friends and your house that you've only known to move 4 hours away, never to see your friends again and stuff like that, that is terrifying. And then another time that it happened in my past was when my parents told us that they were separating. I felt like I had no control whatsoever, and from then on in, I've tried to control things. Usually ends up being in a negative, but that triggered me to think, oh crap, anytime anybody wants to say something to me, it's going to be bad news. Because those are the three things that I remember the most. They stick out every time somebody says that, right? I've had, when relatives have died, like, hey, I got to tell you something. It's the same thing. Like, that's like, it's stupid because, hey, I want to tell you something could mean, hey, you're really important to me, and I want to say, hey, I know I haven't been the bestest person in the world to you in a while, but I really appreciate you. I mean, that has happened. People have said that to me. And here I am when they say I want to talk to you, that I think instantly they're going to a negative. So those things trigger my negative mindset. So I've realized that, and I'm doing the steps to remove that. So boost your self-esteem and look at things that trigger you, or pay attention when you get triggered. Write them down. And then when you're in a non-triggered state, think about it. Look back at it. Why does that trigger you? What happened? What happened and why does it trigger you? And you will find that it goes back farther and farther than you actually think. Use those triggers to figure out what you need to work on. And when you do that, you work on those triggers to do the emotional work or whatever you have to do. Journal, write stuff down, reread stuff, make a list and go through them when you're in, you got to do this when you're in good spirits and good self-esteem, because if you do it when you're low, it could, most likely will, make you lower, feel worse, which it triggers you into a lower self. So you got to do it when you're going to do it. So make sure you do it when you have a good self-esteem, and just look at them, because sometimes they're not that, they're not that difficult to trace back, but you don't really look at them until you need to look at them. But now, take it from me, if you get triggered by something somebody says or whatever, when you're in a good mood, boost your self-esteem, look at it. Why? What happened in the past to make you follow it back to feel like that? Maybe like you have a panic or triggered by barking dogs trigger you. Well, maybe you're not really sure why, but maybe in your past, maybe you were walking by yourself home from school and a bunch of dogs came up on you that got out of a house or something and started barking at you and scared the crap out of you. I mean, that could be why barking dogs or dogs in general trigger like a panic or you to shut down or anything like that. So recognize your triggers and use them to your advantage. Figure out what it is and why it is that these triggers set you off, and go after it, and you change your mindset over these triggers. So that's my best advice for you. I use this on a weekly, daily. If something triggers me and I'm at work or I'm doing something, I write it down or leave a voice to text to myself. I've got notepads everywhere. I just scribble stuff down on a piece of paper that, hey, this triggered me, made me feel this. And then I come back on these things. So, like I recently discovered that, the mess in my house, my garage, in my head was triggered by me trying to control everything and not being able to do what I wanted to do, which was like a simple thing as put the laundry in the laundry basket or whatever. It ended up overwhelming me. So look at the things that overwhelm you, look at your reactions to those things, and go back and figure out how you can make yourself untriggerable, so something doesn't trigger you anymore. Somebody can do the exact same thing or worse, doesn't matter. Water off a duck's back, doesn't even affect you, doesn't change your mood, because you recognize it and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to let that bother me. I'm better than that. I've dealt with it. It's a non-issue anymore. So look at yourself. I'm sure there's lots of little things and probably some big things that you're not even aware of. I know I am. I found a couple this week. Once I figure them all out, I'll touch base and let my viewers know. So remember to subscribe, share, ask questions. If you know somebody that's having a problem, reach out, talk to them, just listen to them, let them talk. Don't try to fix anything. They just need somebody to listen to them. And if they need help, get them help. Yeah, any questions, reach out to me, leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe and like and share, please. Mental health is very important, and especially in these times, it seems to be getting worse. And you're not alone. Everyone's worth it. Everyone's worthy, and you don't have to live with shame or anything like that because you're suffering from something. Everyone has something. So be kind, and until next time, remember, be kind to everyone. Thanks for watching Deep Within the Man Cave.